As you probably know, YouTube is removing, or actually has now removed, the ability to see the amount of dislikes that videos get on the platform. And with my millions of subscribers on my YouTube channel and people stopping me in the street to ask me, Sean, what do you think of this? I thought this was the perfect opportunity to make a video to explain just that. I'm not happy about it. And I think YouTube have got it wrong here. I think they do have good intentions, but the execution, in my opinion, it doesn't really make much sense. I love YouTube. YouTube is a company that I perhaps one day would love to work for. Probably not a good idea then to make a video publicly criticising their recent decision, but bear with me and I'll explain why I feel the way that I do. There's nothing wrong with getting dislikes. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with negative criticism. And it's important to get that negative criticism in order to be better, to make better content. The like-dislike ratio gives you as a viewer context as to what other people are thinking. The idea that other platforms don't have a dislike button and, you know, that's okay. YouTube, that's your USP. It's your unique selling point. It's unique to you. It's a good thing. It was used by all users to judge how good a video is and if it's worth your time. Why would you want to be like everyone else? You've got this unique feature. Don't shy away from it. Don't just become like everyone else. Otherwise, what's the point? You're just going to lose more viewers to TikTok. You don't want to lose your USP. That's the last thing you want to do. The idea, from what I understand, is to stop the dislike bombing, which is an issue on the platform, but there are already tools to stop this happening. Creators already had the ability to disable likes and comments if they wanted to. The idea that every creator can come onto YouTube and receive unilateral praise with positive likes isn't realistic and shouldn't be promoted by the company. If you are a creator and you're willing to put yourself out there on the platform, you take on the risk that it might not end well. It might end with people feeling a dislike towards your content. It's important not to take that personally. It's important to find out why and then hopefully make better content. If you do make content which is provocative or garners a strong negative reaction and you can't put up with the negativity that comes with that, then you can always disable the likes and comments or reconsider, is this something that I actually want to get involved with? I see this with celebrities in the public eye where they chase the fame and they reap the rewards, they reap the money, the notoriety, but then when the potential of negative criticism is there, then it's too much. But that comes with putting yourself out there, and it's just something that you need to really understand before you get into YouTube or any other platform. YouTube has put out a video detailing this, and I have to give YouTube spot because it's a very good video. The tone is exactly right. It's formal, but it doesn't feel condescending. It's just, you know, here's where we're at, here's what we've done with the research. But I do disagree with some of the information in it.
Hey folks, you may have seen a while back that YouTube announced it was experimenting with making dislike counts private to only the creator of the video. Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that. I mean, I've always thought seeing the number of dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers if it's a good video or not, if it's a helpful tutorial or not, or if what a creator is saying in their video is generally agreed with or not. But unfortunately, research teams at YouTube have found there's this whole other use for disliking a video that I had never experienced as a creator, and you may not have either. Apparently, groups of viewers are targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count, turning it into something like a game with a visible scoreboard.
Regrettably, this is true, and I don't think this comes as a surprise to anyone who is invested even the slightest in the YouTube platform. But like I said, the tools are already in the user's domain to disable this behavior. You can disable likes and dislikes if you are a victim of a targeted dislike campaign. But I do think that's rare.
And it's usually just because they don't like the creator or what they stand for. That's a big problem when half of YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice. So earlier in 2021, YouTube experimented with making the public dislike count private to see if it would help reduce these coordinated dislike attacks across the platform. And after analysis, they did see a reduction.
You could take this logic to the next stage where, creators getting negative comments. How do you get rid of negative comments? Remove the ability to leave a comment. And that's what this is with the like and dislike situation. Like I said, I'm sure it does happen and it's bad and it shouldn't happen. But to take a blanket approach across the community to say no more dislikes publicly is, I think, the wrong decision. Twitter is a good example where there isn't a dislike button, but users know of the site how to give a negative view. You could ratio someone, you can put, if you reply, typically if a tweet has far more replies than it does likes, something's a bit off there and you can delve in and you can see it. Removing the dislike display won't stop any negativity. It won't. It's just going to push it into different places. It's going to push it into the comments. And then, like I said, what do? Do you just delete comments entirely? It's not good.
So the update from YouTube is that the dislike button is staying, but the dislike counts will now be private.
I feel if you are a smaller creator and you do fixate on your like to dislikes, still having access to that information isn't helpful if it does stress you out. I think a better thing to do, or what I'd recommend to a smaller creator in that position, is just disable it. If you don't want to have any dislikes, just disable it entirely. Having it still accessible, I don't see that solving a problem.
You can still dislike videos, and that action will be used to tune your own recommendations, but you won't be able to see the dislike count. Only the creator can find it on the back end if they want. Now, a few common questions we saw from the initial experiment. First, without a public dislike count, how can viewers tell if a video is worth watching?
Now, this change has already been implemented and I've used it for a few hours, and I already miss the ability to immediately see how well received a video is and if it's worth my time. I watch a lot of YouTube. I spend hours and hours a day watching content, all sorts of content, documentaries, comedy, videos, gaming, anything. And it's really important to me that if it's a healthy amount of likes, I will pursue the video often in its entirety. If it's got 30% and up of dislikes, I will then scroll to the comments and I will see what's happening.
I kind of had this question too, but it turns out that while viewers might use the dislike count to give them a sense of a video's worth, when the teams looked at the data across millions of viewers and videos in the experiment, they didn't see a noticeable difference in viewership.
In viewership, yes, but what was the quality of watching the video? Did they enjoy it? That's not answered. You may have your watch time, and from YouTube's perspective, that's great, but did the consumer enjoy the content as much as their expectations would have led them to believe, should the dislike button still have been there? Don't know. It wasn't mentioned. And it would be very interesting to have access to this data. It's never going to happen, but it'll be interesting to see what methodology was used here and see how YouTube come to this conclusion, because we don't know. We don't know.
In other words, it didn't really matter if a video had a lot of dislikes or not, they still watched. Next common question, if creators can still see the dislike count on the back end, how's that any different? They can see it if they look for it inside Studio Analytics under the Engagement tab. But overall, it's much less likely to cause stress and embarrassment if the count isn't visible to the public.
Again, negativity and dislikes, they're not bad things. It's unhealthy to just want the positives constantly. because then you're stuck in a rut. You got the yes men mentality. Everything's great. Why even bother? I've been watching some Gordon Ramsay documentaries recently, and you know, back when he was starting up, and he was like fixated on getting Michelin stars, but also critics' reviews. And some of these critics, they left unsavoury things to say. And if you value someone's opinion, then you can use that to improve. But it's important. You'd never grow if all you had was likes, all positive. Then you wouldn't know if what you're doing was good or if you had to improve or not.
And one more common question, is this because YouTube Rewind got lots of dislikes? No, although there are some teams internally who have learned the hard way what it feels like to get lots of dislikes.
I feel that's a joke, but it actually demonstrates perfectly why the dislike button is really important. The community did not like the last, in particular, 2 YouTube Rewinds. And instead of YouTube taking this on board, the option was just to bin it entirely. This was a good example of the community saying, no, this is not what we want. A good example, one of the most disliked videos on the platform was when Call of Duty released their Infinite Warfare trailer. And I remember the community was not happy with this COD going to space at the time. And it was disliked to about an 85% dislike ratio. It was a good example of the community saying, no, we don't like this. And it was representative. If you look at it now, it's got just over or close to 650,000 likes against 45 million views. So without the context there, okay, well, I don't know much about COD, but this is clearly well received. No, it wasn't. It was disastrously received. Just looking into the comments of the video, dislike counts were necessary to spot clickbait, scams, fake tutorials. I agree. If a video was misleading, then it would receive a lot of dislikes, and I wouldn't have watched it, and I'm sure other people wouldn't. Ironically enough, this update to YouTube's dislike count has, and you're gonna have to just trust me here, because that's my source. My source is trust me, bro. It has significantly more dislikes than it does likes. And I know this because I actually disliked this video before the change come into effect. I rarely dislike videos. I dislike, of 100 videos I like, I might dislike one dislike, because I don't use it all the time. I'm either indifferent to the video, but when I do dislike it, it's because A, I strongly disagree with the content of the video, or 2, it's misleading and it didn't live up to my expectations, and I want the ability to share that with other users so they know ahead of time that the video is not up to scratch. My proposal is bring back the dislike button, reiterate to creators who perhaps receive a lot of dislikes that the option to remove that is in your call, if that's what you want to do. I don't know if there was a call to do this by creators. I certainly didn't see it. And there's certainly a strong number of, or percentage of the community against this idea. I hope it's reversed, because I'm already not enjoying using YouTube as much as I did yesterday when I had that dislike button. The idea that everyone who dislikes a video is doing it maliciously in order to harm a creator or make stress for them is incorrect. It's not the case. If someone does take it that way, then, like I said, perhaps this platform or putting yourself out there isn't quite for them. But I'll be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Just give creators the tools to, if they want, they can remove it themselves. But to do it YouTube-wide, I don't think that's a good idea. Very, very keen to hear your thoughts though, so please let me know. Maybe I won't make it another year before I post a video, who knows? This could be the video of the year, but thanks anyway, thanks for watching.